Hi, I'm Rebecca Kanopka, Carter County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources, and welcome to Around the Farm. Today we're going to be talking about sweet potatoes. You often hear the words sweet potatoes and yams used interchangeably, but they are actually two separate crops. Sweet potatoes are grown here in the U.S., whereas yams are grown in the Caribbean and other tropical areas. Sweet potatoes are vegetatively propagated for commercial production. Seed production is only used as part of the breeding program. In early spring, about 6 to 8 weeks prior to the planting season, seed stock is planted. That way, cuttings and slips can be obtained prior to planting season. And these cuttings or slips, like I have here, are what most growers use to plant in their garden for sweet potatoes. Cuttings are simply cut 1 to 2 inches above the soil line, whereas slips will have a few roots left on the plant. Although slips have been the traditional method for transplanting of sweet potatoes, cuttings have now become a more preferred option because they eliminate the risk of diseases associated with the roots. So when you have your slips, they may not look like much more than a twig, but you can still go ahead and plant them in the ground and they will root easily. And if you actually take a couple of days before you get them in the ground, you'll actually start to see those roots start to form on our cuttings here. As with any crop, site selection is very important. Sweet potatoes grow best on medium to light sandy soils that are well drained. Although they can be grown on heavier soils, this often results in roots that are rougher skinned and irregular. Sweet potatoes should not be grown in the same spot more than once every 3 years. You also want to avoid areas that have high organic matter or areas where corn has been growing in the last 5 years due to wireworm problems. Sweet potatoes are cold sensitive and are planted after the danger of frost. So in Kentucky, the best time to plant sweet potato cuttings or slips is about early June or mid-June. You want to start with a fine seed bed, and traditionally, sweet potatoes are grown on 8 to 10 inch tall ridges. This allows for good drainage and proper root development, and will also allow for an easier harvest. However, plants will dry out quicker when on the ridges, so if you do not have access to irrigation, it may be best to plant on shallower ridges or in the flat ground. It's important for the sweet potato plants to have adequate water, especially during the first 40 days after planting. If you're planting lots of sweet potatoes, slips, or cuttings, it's best to plant them on 36 to 44 inch row centers. This will allow for the vines to fully take over the centers of the rows within 5 to 6 weeks and will help improve your weed control. Sweet potatoes should be harvested when they reach 6 to 8 ounces. They have a very delicate skin that can be easily damaged during harvest. To help make harvest easier, avoid watering immediately prior to harvest, and you may also want to mow the vines back. Sweet potatoes can be dug by hand or with a traditional potato plow. You don't want to wash sweet potatoes immediately because of their delicate skin. You want to wait till after they have cured. If cured properly, sweet potatoes may be kept in storage for 4 to 7 months. Ideal curing conditions for sweet potatoes are 85 degrees Fahrenheit with 85 to 90% relative humidity for 3 to 5 days with adequate ventilation. Sweet potatoes should be stored at 85 to 90% relative humidity and kept above 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that we know the basics about growing sweet potatoes, I have a special guest that's going to show us a tasty treat once our sweet potatoes have been harvested. I'd like to welcome Anita Jones, our SNAP assistant here in Carter County, to share with us the grilled sweet potato recipe.
Hi, my name is Anita Jones, and I am the Nutrition Education Program Assistant Senior for Carter County Cooperative Extension. And today I'm going to be talking to you about sweet potatoes and prepared a recipe for you. Sweet potatoes have fresh, bright colors, and they have vitamins A, B, and C. This recipe that I'm going to be fixing is grilled sweet potatoes, and they take 2 medium, calls for 6 sweet potatoes, but I'm only going to be using 2. 3 tablespoons of olive oil, which I have here. Lemon juice, lemon zest, which I'm not going to be using. Olive oil, again, and salt. And I'm going to go prepare this and fresh basil, which I'm going to be using dried, but it'll work just the same. So I will show you what it looks like when it is done. So the recipe called for grilling them. Well, instead of grilling, I'm going to bake them in the air fryer, but they needed to be peeled. So I've already peeled them and sliced them. So I'm going to put them into my bowl. And into the bowl, my little glass bowl, we're going to mix a dressing. First, we need to prepare our sweet potatoes. They need a coating of the sweet potatoes with olive oil. Need to have just a coat drizzled onto them. And they need to be baked. Like I said, I'm going to do it in the air fryer, so that way they aren't too much. So that's going to sit there. Now let's mix up our dressing. We need 1 teaspoon of our basil. One tablespoon of olive oil. Also. Okay, I have all my spices mixed together, and this will be the dressing that goes on top of the sweet potatoes once they come out of the air fryer. So mix it all together really good. Keep in mind, oil with anything, and you've got to stir it really good because they don't always mix together. Okay, here's what it looks like. Now we're ready to bake our sweet potatoes. I'll see you in a few. Okay, so our grilled sweet potatoes are done, and this is our finished product. So now they are ready to sample. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about growing or preparing sweet potatoes, contact your local county extension office.